Hello and welcome everybody. This is Pratigya Haran from Chennai, hosting the final show of the 12 of the series of stories by and for adults. Today we have five storytellers from across India, five very different stories, five very different genres, and I would like to invite the very first storyteller for the day. Neena, yes, we have Neena Girish from Thiruvananthapuram. Let me just spotlight you. Neena, please introduce yourself fully and share a story with us.
First of all, good morning, good evening, and thank you to Chennai Storytelling Festival and Dr. Eric for giving this opportunity. Myself, Neena Girish, I worked as a school librarian, and now I'm into storytelling and podcasting, a freelancer, teacher trainer, learning all these things, updating myself. So I'll be narrating a story where we have a character and also protagonist, antagonist, whatever you may. So I'll begin the story. And before I begin, I'd like to wish Kavita, who's the next storyteller, a very happy birthday. That's the birthday today. So yeah. So Nivi was a lady or a girl who was very ambitious. She had lots of dream in her mind. And with that dream, she was living her life. And that's when she got an opportunity to join a school as a librarian. After maybe a long time, she after completing her bachelor and doing her master's, that is when she joined the school. She was full of
I'll just mute them, Neena.
Go ahead.
So by chance, though she became a school librarian, she enjoyed her work because she was dealing with small kids, teaching them the basics of reading and so on. So she was all happy, enjoying the school life. Till 2016, there was a sudden change because all the while, the 9 years that she was working in that school, she was working as a academic librarian, a teaching librarian. And in 16, a sudden change, the transition from teaching to non-teaching was something that took time for her to cope with. Because, you know, when the transition happens, people, it's really the time management to manage your family. It takes a lot of help. And finally, she managed. But there was another thing going on that her son was also there in the same school where she was. And obviously, the parent-teacher meeting that should happen was there every day for her. So one side her work, one side the PTM and all those things. So these things went by, but her work was that she got chance to update herself, to join several what you call training programs to improve as a librarian, work on it, help the students based on those trainings. And in 2018, again, there was a change in her life because every 3 years, there is a shift in the management as well as the head of the institution. So the next year, when another person came as the head of the institution, the first thing Nivi encountered was the appreciation that she got during the staff meeting for being so disciplined, taking her kids from the ground floor, second floor, third floor, where the library was. So taking 45 students along with her was, you know, that too very quietly without disturbing other classes, all the way from ground till the third floor. So this was appreciated by the new principal, and that left that was something that changed her life because there were many who were like, oh, how come a librarian getting so much of appreciation just for taking kids upstairs? And then there were some like, oh my God, what? We have been managing the discipline of the school for a long time and we never got such an appreciation. So there started her, mishappenings. So one fine day, Nidhi, along with her colleague who was looking after the senior library for 7 to 2, 12 classes, who was new, and Nidhi had helped her to understand the basics of library, especially in the school library. So while these things happen, all of a sudden, the attitude of the colleague changed towards her, maybe because Nidhi was getting more opportunities to update herself as a librarian, getting opportunities for training. So somewhere there started a rift in her mind, but Nidhi was unaware of all these things. She was she was very outspoken. One bad quality that Nidhi had was she was outspoken. She never ever had, the quality to say no to anything. Abruptly, she will say, "Why is this happening? This is not the right thing." And that one particular aspect of her behavior was again a cause of her downfall or the trauma that she went through. So one fine day, she gets to know that the colleague with whom she was working in the same department lost her husband, and she was asked to go to meet her in the hospital, which she did with all the other senior members of the school. But after coming back, there were certain talks and other things going around as to how she lost her husband so soon. And one person came to Nidhi who happened to be her colleague's best friend, who was from a department that took care of the special needs of children. And Nidhi was told that, "See, this is what happened with her husband." And Nidhi was like, "See, we have to take care of the person when she comes back because she is all alone. There's no one with her. So better not to talk what we are not aware of." And that was left. But somewhere this was going on. Nidhi was all unaware. And one fine morning, early morning, Nidhi was going through a lot of pressure because of her son. Second thing, these kind of things were totally troubling her. And she was discussing everything with her husband as well. So the husband who was posted in Delhi was transferred to some other place in Northeast. And she was badly missing him in those days because she had to convey her feelings all through telephone or phone and all messages. So that particular day, her husband was there for some official work, and he left her, dropped her to the school early morning by 7:15. And 7:30, after the school prayer, Nidhi was called down to the principal's room. And Nidhi was shocked. The first thing that she heard was, "What exactly are you thinking you are doing? How dare you speak so ill of others?" Nidhi was like, "What? Ill of others? What was it? What did we do? You don't know what you did? Don't you know? Do you think I'm sitting here to hatch the eggs behind?" That particular term, Nidhi was shocked. How could a person say that? And that Nidhi came to know that was a tagline for not just her, for most of them. And Nidhi said abruptly, "Please tell me, what exactly did I do?" Nidhi was one person who never kept quiet, even if she was not wrong. She spoke her mind very clearly. And she said, "Fine, if you think I have done something wrong, please call everyone. Let's have a staff meeting. Let the foremost person, the topmost person from the management come. And I'm ready to face." And the next thing was upbraid person. "Do you think you can order me? Who are you to order me? And moreover, I don't need to call anyone. It's very evident there were seven people who came and told me, 'You are a gossiper. You speak ill of others.'" Nidhi was shocked. One thing that she never ever did was gossiping. She was confused. Being outspoken, talking about something wrong, is that called gossiping? Particularly when you are told that you have said ill about a person who you have never met and who is no more in this world. That was a shock for her. And she was ready to resign on the spot. And tears started flowing from her eyes. Outside the room, there were many waiting to meet the head of the institute. And Nidhi just was shown the way out of my office. I don't want you to be here. Nidhi went out, tears flowing. Everybody was looking shocked. even the students, because she had to go to the third floor. She reached there. The first thing she did was she picked up the phone. She rang her husband and said, listen, I can't take this anymore. Back the story, Nidhi was already under a lot of pressure because of the transition of her post. All those pressure was there. And she was already telling that she wanted to leave the job and do something that her mind or her passion was. So she called up her husband and said, listen, I just want to come back home. I cannot take this anymore. So he was like, what happened? I just dropped you. It's just 20 minutes. And now you're telling me you want to come back home. Then Nidhi was like, if you don't come, listen, I am in the third floor. I just jump out and end my life. I can't take this anymore. Then he made her calm, said, calm down. Tell me what happened. So Nidhi explained everything. And do you know something? The other person, her colleague who was there, she knew why Nidhi was called down. She was very rude then. She was sitting there. Nidhi understood what mental condition she was going through when she lost her husband. But this person was taking revenge for something that Nidhi had not done. Just because somebody instigated her, just go and tell she's your enemy, that's enough. And this person will listen to you very well. Now, Nidhi's husband told her that calm down, take a deep breath, and just think, if you do this, they will not lose anything. Instead, you will prove them right. You will prove them right that you are that. That's why you did this. So stay there, and I am there with you till you are able to prove that you are not what as you have described. Because the one tag, gossiper, and ill speaking was something that Nidhi couldn't take well with her. The trauma was such that Nidhi feared every time when there was a call from the school. Her hands would shiver. She didn't know what next, what is there in store for me. And it's all because every time when she had to face that person, she was told, ha, here comes. See? So I know you're this. And then the work, but there was nothing to point out when it came to her work. And Nidhi was worried, was looking so worried and thinking, who are those 7 people? Because as far as she knew, she had never misbehaved with anyone. Rather, she tried to help them whenever they wanted. They were in need. But then, should I go back behind those 7 people, or should I try to improve myself? That's what the thought came in Nidhi's mind. So Nidhi focused on what her work was, to look after the young kids from age 5 till 13 years, where she focused on how to help them improve their reading, writing, and all those things that she could manage. So what she did is, when she was called for the ACR, annual report is given to every staff at the end of the year, she got outstanding for her work. But on personal ground, the gossiper was smart. And she was told, if you tell this to anyone, I know next what will happen. The outspoken Nidhi just kept her inside a cocoon. She just confined herself inside the cabin where she worked, with her area where her students came, going down, bringing them up, all silently doing, and unable to trust. If somebody asks, hey, how are you? It's been long time. You're not the same as well. What happened? Nidhi feared. Should I talk to them? Should I confess what I'm going through? No. The second thought said, no, Nidhi, take care. There are 7 people, remember, who have spoken ill about you. So don't trust anyone. Don't. And the only person she was able to share, see the trauma that she was going on, she couldn't share her feelings with her friend. She didn't understand who was her friend, who was her enemy, or who was that particular 7 people. And even back home, she had her husband, she had to message, and all those things were going on. And her kids were also badly affected. Somewhere, the lockdown came. And before lockdown, what happened? All these traumas made Nidhi so ill. She was not well. She was going through some medical condition that aggravated and that reached up to a stage when it was declared that she was at the high risk of cancer and she had to get the surgery done within a month. Nidhi had this condition not just before this incident. It was there. The treatment was going on. But this one change of the body, the trauma, the things that the sleepless night that she went on, even when by 7:30 you have to be in your school. Otherwise, the register is inside, you have to face it. So that panic attacks and all those things had aggravated her health issues. And then she underwent the surgery. And all because her son stood strong by her, taking care that until her husband came, he was there to take care of. And then one day, what happened is the lockdown began. Nidhi came back to school after her medical leave after 3 months because she had to take 3 months leave as the library was on top, the third floor. She couldn't climb the stairs. There was no lift or something like that. The day when she joined, it's normal that we all, whenever we join, we are working with an institute, we are reporting to the head of the institute as per the protocol. That is what she did. And afterwards, she was called down, and right in front of the corridor where there were many parents and other things, abruptly there was a shout. What do you think of yourself? You think you could go and take up your responsibility without meeting the superior? Nidhi was shocked. Because all this while, it has been 10 years since she was working in that institute, this never happened. Whenever the medical leave or something was, it was the immediate institute head that people reported. That insult was again shocking because everyone was watching. Then came a time of COVID when parents were online watching what exactly Nidhi was doing. Had Nidhi been gossiping, she would not have got enough time to do what she was doing. The parents were so helpful. Out of 45 students, if 33 attend your class, that too activity class during COVID time with all the technical glitches, is something that, people say that it was such a wonderful feeling to have that class. Parents were involved. And the first thing Nidhi could take off was the tagline that library is just an area, that to school library is just a place where you are giving storybooks, you're reading out stories, nothing else. But parents were like, oh, ma'am, it was so nice to know that library has something more beyond what we were thinking. An active collection of the work was shown in throughout during the lockdown, which she was always doing before the lockdown all as well. But during lockdown, thanks to technology, thanks to the blog, podcasting, whatever was there, the work was very well out there to everyone to see what exactly kids from the primary were doing. The same time, there was a reading competition, Olympiad competition, where she had encouraged her class 2 to 8 students to be part of the reading Olympiad. And 8 of the students from that reading Olympiad for the very first time attended the online reading Olympiad, and 8 of them ranked 5th till 77 globally. And that was a great achievement that school got. And the parents were happy beyond words. And the management was happy after, because every annual year they have the meeting, general body meeting, where the school has to report what are the things the school went through, what are the activities, everything has to be presented. That one year, there was only Nidhi's work that was being shown there. There were many other, because online, many things didn't happen as it happens offline. And Nidhi was not aware of all these things. When they were asked to come offline in the meeting, she was also part of an international online conference and other things. So these things were through school official things that they were doing. So one day what happened, they were asked to come, the staff was asked to come back offline as the COVID was coming down, and they came back. The whole staff was there, including the non-teaching staff in the meeting. That's when the chairman called up 2 names, saying that during the lockdown, there were 2 people who made us proud. One was a teacher who was taking care of the NCC cadet, who got promotion as an officer for her work as a trainee in NCC. The other, he said, the other didn't make us proud for her personal well-being, but for something that she did for the students, which He said he had to say because there were parents who called up, there were parents who messaged him that this is what our kids are doing. And they wanted to appreciate the teacher who was doing all these things. Nidhi and the other teacher were asked to stand up and show the whole staff that this is what they have been doing. Though those things happen, every time the people who were behind, some of them left the school. They were no more there. But the thing was, Nidhi was not still at peace, as again and again there was taunting of her gossiping. You are a gossiper. That was hurting her a lot. Nidhi said, she said to herself, I confined myself. I did what I could. Then still, why? There are plenty of cameras. Why don't you check those things? Once, second time she thought, it's better to keep quiet and concentrate on your work. There's no hope in telling, hitting your heads and saying, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. It's better to keep quiet and do your work. Your work will speak for you. And finally, one day, when again Nidhi got her annual report, she felt the pinch tick on the column. What does she do during her free time? She goes around, calls people, and gossips, talks ill about others. Nidhi laughed at it. Fine. If this is what I do, then what are those things displayed in my room? The kids, the smile on their faces, they call, story ma'am, computer ma'am, please, we love you. That was enough for us. And Nidhi was also she was given the meritorious most motivating librarian award because of that Olympiad. And to her surprise, the award was given to her from the reception by the receptionist because Nidhi was a gossiper. How could that award be given in front of others? Nidhi didn't mind about it. She kept the award with her. And when that was put in social media, that is when her colleagues came to know that she was awarded. They said, you didn't tell us. I said, nobody asked me. And then this continued. Finally, as promised by her husband, that if you prove your worth, you can do whatever you want to. So Nidhi tried her best to help out students as well as change the tag that she was going through. But she didn't know whether the tag was removed or what. But she was happy that she could prove, happy to herself, that she could prove herself that she was not a gossiper or a ill-speaking person. And the people who were behind were actually trying to cover up what they did, which was known to everyone later, though late. And as you say, that when your tune is right, stop playing the music. That is what we say. So Nidhi finally decided that now it's time. The call from her said, there were many times there were chances when you got an opportunity to go out, but you never did that. Now it's the time that you go away, do what your heart wants to, follow your passion. She was very, very determined because every 3 years, the system changes, people change. Those who come on to take charge of the school. So she didn't want to be a scapegoat again, where, every time this is passed on. Look, because in 2016, when Nidhi was told that she's no more a teaching staff, Nidhi had fought for a right. Now Nidhi felt, was it because she was fighting for her rights that she was targeted so badly? So Nidhi didn't want to care because that legacy of her being a revolutionist was passed on to the next one. Now she didn't want that drama to happen again. She wanted to be at peace and do for some other people whom really will value what she was doing. And that day she went and said, listen, ma'am, I would like to resign because her family was also shifting from where she was. So my family is leaving and I would like to leave. And that is when the head of the institute said, Nidhi, you don't know what you have done to the school. You've done so many things. I think you should not leave. You should stay here. Nobody will do what you have done. But Nidhi said with a smile, I know, ma'am, there'll be someone better than me who will do far better than what I did. I would love to live and do what my heart wants to follow. Nidhi had to complete her 3 months, and all that love and support that she got from her children was beyond words. Even after the farewell, Nidhi remembered saying during her farewell that I would love to tell stories for those special need kids. And by chance, dot to dot connects. Nidhi got in touch with a group that was working tirelessly for these neurodivergent kids with no monetary benefits. Their only aim was self advocacy, parent advocacy. She was part of that group not because she was qualified for the particular space or thing, but because she had that passion, because she had observed these kids when she was in school, that soft corner, and what she as a mother went through for her son in the school. So this way, Nidhi became part of those beautiful souls, and she's doing a well with forgetting all. Just a second. Uh, yeah, sorry for that. I got this low battery. Okay, so Nidhi is at a happy space, doing and learning her passion, taking forward her passion, and her family being very supportive. And she's so blessed to have beautiful souls in her life, those who don't remind her what she is, but those who tell her, come on, you can do it. Age doesn't define anyone. Age is just a number, and it's never too late to learn something that you really want to. So this is a story about Nidhi and her change. And Nidhi just wanted to ask everyone that, was the head of the institute trying to show her something, that what was happening behind her, that you have to be cautious when you talk to someone. You shouldn't be outspoken. Nidhi was thinking for a time, though she was annoyed at first, but she thought that maybe the person was trying to point out to you that beware of who your friends are, because you never know who is right and who's wrong. That is a lesson that she learned, and she's thankful to that person for what she's today. Thank you.
Thank you, Neena. Thank you so much for that personal story. So, is it Neena, which is Nidhi?
Yeah.
That's obvious, I guess. I'm afraid we are really way over time, so I cannot invite the audience to discuss and talk about this. I know we started late. I'm not blaming it on you, but yes, we did start late, and so we need to move on to the next one. But thank you once again for sharing a part of your story, your life, and I think that's always very special when you get the courage to discuss and talk about your personal story. So thank you so much for that, Neena. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, moving on to our next teller for the day, we have Kavita Shah from Ahmedabad. Kavita, please fully introduce yourself and tell us a story.
Yes. So, good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Neena, for wishing me, and thank you all other friends for wishing me on my birthday. Today it's a very special day. Of course, it's my birthday, but I'm going to share a personal story and bonding between my grandmother and myself. So, my grandmother, her name is, she's no more, she's passed away, but her name was Sushila. As the name goes, Sushila, Sushil, which we say has all the qualities and which is a masterpiece in itself. And she was. She was born on Ram Navami in some village near Saurashtra in Gujarat. She belonged to a very poor family. Her father was a farmer, and they used to carry, twigs, small wooden sticks from the forest to the village area and they used to earn money. And his father used to work on fields. This was a special narrative given by my grandmother to me when I asked her one day, what was your childhood like? Because when I was born, my mother was very much shocked taking me in my hands, though she was happy. But I was black as charcoal, like my father. And my mother was very fair. And immediately my grandmother enters and says, Aruna, you don't need to worry. We'll apply all the herbal medicines and we'll make her fair. She's going to get the best groom. So by the time we are born, our mother starts thinking that, oh, she's black. But my grandmother was such a lady. She never used to think on all these aspects. She comes from a background where she got married to my grandfather as a second wife who was 20 years older than her. She was only 14 when she got married. And when my grandfather passed away, I was 15 years old. And that was the day when I came to know that my grandmother is the second wife. I never knew that my elder uncle is from my first grandmother. So that was her quality, that her upbringing to us. We never knew what she had inside her. Days passed. I was 11 years old and I had chicken pox. So we all know that, there's an old tradition over here when we have chicken pox. So all chicken pox was there and I was crying and crying and my grandmother came. I was brought up in a joint family. So sometimes grandmother used to go to aunt's house, uncle's house, but most of the time she was there with us. So she told me, you need not worry. You can take a photo frame she gave me of my Yamuna ji. And she told me, you just chant and everything is going to be fine. And that time, at the age of 11, what do we understand? But whatever she said, I believed. Whenever I was angry, I used to, sometimes when mother is not at home and I come from school and the food is not ready, and I used to say that, what is all this? A little bit of bang I made, or I used to make such noise from the vessels, and she used to tell me, these vessels are also crying. I said, what nonsense, grandma? How these vessels can cry? Saying, yes, they can cry. Because the sound you make welcomes not Ma Lakshmi, but another Lakshmi, which is the elder sister of Lakshmi. I never decoded all these things, but I have decoded since so many years. There were reasons behind this, she used to tell us. She was illiterate. She was married at the age of 14 because her father did not have enough money. And so when she came here in Mumbai, that time she started learning, literacy program from a neighbor, very friendly neighbor. And she was learning and she just told that I just want to learn my name. And she learned that. Days passed. She used to first do thumb impression, then she used to do the signature, but she never used to read. She did not knew reading as she was illiterate, but still she learned. And she learned after my grandfather passed away. That time she realized, and there was a turning point in her life when we came to know about her divine persona. Every year she used to go to Gokul Vrindavan. Every year. It has been 45 years consistently. Every year she used to go there, stay for 3-4 months. And my uncle and aunt, my mother, in fact, everyone used to say, when she is here, she's having some pains in joints. You know, there's some complaining part she's having. Of course, she was growing older. But we used to experience when we used to go there, following her. Maybe she always used to reside in Gokul. So when we used to go to Gokul, we used to see her as a 16-year-old maiden, beautiful maiden, who was running here and there. Let us go to this temple and you have to do these rituals. Everything she taught and imbibed in us was amazing. I always remember she was such a fantastic cook and so resourceful person, but she never decoded things. And I used to ask her why this is to be followed, why this thing is to be done. But there were only 3, 4 principles she used to ask us to follow, and those were generosity. Anyone who comes to our house has to be given an asan to sit, a glass of water. You have to feed and give him due respect. These 4 things she always believed. And not only a fantastic cook, she used to ask each and every person around. Even the sweeper used to come to collect the garbage, and she used to be very polite and ask her, "Are you hungry? Kuch khaoge? Kuch khana hai?" And we used to tell her, "Why are you asking everyone?" She's saying, "No, we have to ask." I said, "We have to, or else you like to ask?" Then she used to say, "I don't know. Should we ask, or is it like I want to ask?" Because she never had that I in front of her. Days passed. It was my wedding ceremony, and my vidai was happening. She hugged me. Everybody was crying, but I was looking at her because her heart was painting right. And when she hugged me, she told me, "Kavita, I have only one thing to say you, Tina," because she was the only person used to call me Tina by my pet. That's not actual my pet name, but it's a pet name by her. So she used to tell me, she told me at that time, "See, Kavita, do only one thing. When you get married, after your marriage, just take care that your family, especially your mother-in-law and father-in-law, 2 times they are to be feeded by you in royalty. You have to give that contentment and satisfaction of serving them food to the utmost, satisfaction level both the times a day." That's the only one advice I remember when she hugged me at the time of my vidai. So as I say, many answers were decoded later on. That time it was like, a normal advice which our elders give us. After my marriage, I used to call up, and I was in the same town in Mumbai. So some days I used to go and meet her. As age was growing and growing, it was 2018 when nobody was at home, and it was Ramanavami, her birthday. The most favorite fruit, the most favorite sweet for her was mango. And she was born on Ramanavami. So according to our Vaishnava tradition, it's the day when we start offering mangoes to Lord Krishna. So she was very excited, being at a high alert diabetic level, but she was fond of mangoes. And I called her and said, "What are you doing, Ba?" Saying, "Nothing. I am alone at home and I'm sewing, Lord Krishna's garment. Are you coming down? Tina, are you coming down?" I said, "Yes, I'm coming. That's why I called you." "Okay, come. I am there. I'm waiting." And I went. It was her birthday. I said, "Ba, let's go to the temple." "Oh, you'll take me to the temple? Fine." And then she wore a yellow sari and that red bindi. And she said, "Okay, let's go to the temple." We went to the temple, we did the darshan, and when we just came outside, she hugged me again and said, Tina, this was my most precious birthday gift you gave me. I said, I don't know, Ma, but when you were alone, I did not like that. So I thought of taking you to the temple. And my kids were waiting outside the tuition class, waiting for me to pick up. And I called the teacher that please you do this because I was there with my daddy. So these were some moments which are cherished and I lived upon. It was 2019. The same phenomena was happening. She went to Gokul, but her age was growing. She was 80 then. And we used to tell her, Ba, you don't go alone. But anywhere you go in Gokul, Vrindavan, Gopalpur, Jatipura, everybody knows Sushila Maiya. She is called Maiya there. And she sat with someone on the scooter for a Dev Darshan. And her pallu, which she used to wear in Gujarati style, just was in the, it stuck into the tire. And she fell. And she felt so badly that she had a very severe sciatica issue. And there was a fracture. We were called upon, my uncle and aunt, my father went there, they brought her back. From 2019 November, I think September, she was on bed rest. Then it was February 2020. When we were hearing the news about pandemic being spreading all over the world. And I used to go in the evening once a week to meet her. And I used to sit by her and I used to tell her, Ba, when are we going again? We also want to come to Gokul, but it's very impossible. No, not Gokul. What I am thinking is, this time only all ladies, my daughters, my daughter-in-laws, my niece, nephew, no, this men will not be allowed. And we are going to Nathadwara in Udaipur. I want to see Udaipur. I want to buy a few stuff for Lord Krishna. And then we are going to Nathadwara to do Srinathji's darshan. And I said, okay, ba, we'll go. Kavita, I know you don't worry about finance, sir. For you, I am there. And it is between you and me. Nobody in the family will know that I am sponsoring you. You don't worry. I understand your situation. I said, okay, ba, it is manageable. Then later on, the next few days were very shocking news coming, death news coming all over. And she had heart problem. She already had 2 blockages. She was having that stent placed in her heart. And then she was very emotional. So a day came when she had a mild heart attack and she was hospitalized. But by grace of God, sitting there and we used to do a video call, she was drinking soup. A lady who has never ever eaten outside food. But the hospital was as such that you are not allowed to take any home food. So she used to drink the soup and she used to tell me on the video call, Kavita, see soup, very tasty and yummy outside food. So you people like this. But I have taken care, there is no garlic onion in this. And when I come back, I have to do this fast. And then you see, everything is going to be in place. You don't worry. My other cousin used to call her. Everybody used to do that video calling. And the days passed. After 1 week, she came back home. It was in the month of March. There was a wedding in our family. My uncle's daughter was getting married. And we had a very bang on time. But the day the wedding was there, and Modi ji declared, from tomorrow onwards, there is a lockdown. And my daddy said, oh, these people will not come to meet me. because she always wanted people around her. Family. And she used to tell us, the family that eats together stays together. And the last, every festival was celebrated in that lockdown also with full, full enthusiasm. Now it was Janmashtami. Everybody was having cold, cough, fever. I was also not so well. It was Janmashtami and I said that I'll go and meet today. And there was something which doctor had told my father, that she has only few days or few months. And that point, my father discussed with me. So when on Janmashtami afternoon, I went there taking some fruits. And I was just sitting beside her and something fell down and I just went to pick up. She never allowed girls to touch her feet. So as soon as I went down, she felt that I am touching her feet. So she just holded me and gave me a hug and started crying. And I also cried. And that same moment, she just kissed me here and said, everything is going to be fine, Kavita. Tell me the truth. What did the doctor say to your father? I said, nothing, ba. Whatever happens, we are going to Udaipur and Srinathji. That is confirmed. Let this lockdown go and we are going. I said, that is what I am saying. We are going. And I told her that, Ma, did you like this time the pineapple cake we brought for you? I like it, but then I have to hide from the aunt and eat, Otherwise, she doesn't let me to eat. I said, you want to eat mangoes, you want to eat pineapple cake also? We don't eat food outside like you, na. So I just, cherish those moments. I save those things and I eat slowly a bite of it. Then I just left her. Next day was Nom. And on Navmi, we celebrate with full gist, full enthusiasm, the Janmashtami festival. As we celebrated on Atham, we celebrated on Navmi also. And the same day, evening, my auntie was hospitalized. She got COVID. My father, my mother, another uncle, aunt, a joint family staying on 4th floor, 5th floor, 6th floor. Everybody was around. Everybody was not well. And it was Ekadashi, evening time, when my Dadi told my auntie, you bring a paper and pen. And she started dictating. She made a whole big list and told her, this much ghee, this much ingredients, this much sweets has to be prepared in Gokul, Vrindavan, this much amount Brahmbhojan, this is for my elder son, this is for my niece, my nephew, uncle, aunt, everybody named, 45 people in the family, everybody was named, and all rituals she wanted to do at Gokul Vrindavan was listed down. And 11:30, she just called my aunt, Rohini, I am having some pain. Call Pradeep, call Aruna, call Jayant, call everyone. And my aunt got up and she told, you'd like to have water? She said, yes, you bring me Yamuna Jal, but I would like to go to toilet first. She went to the toilet. Then she went to the washroom. She had a bath. She cleaned herself on her own. Of course, my auntie was helping her out. And then she wore a new sari with a bindi. And then she slept, lying down and chanting and chanting and chanting. And she asked for Yamuna Jal. And my auntie gave her and she drank. And my younger uncle just came. She was very much attached to my younger uncle. And she told, Nana, his name is Jayant, but he calls him Nana. So he says, Nana, come here. Nana means small in Gujarati. And he hugged him. And 5 minutes, she just laid down seeing something. We don't know what she saw. And then she closed her eyes. I know she is there in some divine abode right now. After 1.5 years, we all 65, the 45 family grew to 65 in 1.5 years. And we all went to Gokul Vrindavan. Whatever she had asked us to do, we did all those things. And everybody had dreams. Every family member, right from a 7-year-old girl, Jayati, to the eldest in the family, everybody had dreams, notions, feelings, and experiences which made us feel that she was there in Gokul. Because there, a Maharaj came and told us, what you people are doing here? Sushila Maiya was there standing in the temple 2 days before. I said, and we were all shocked. 2 days before? It's 1.5 years she's passed away. So I just admire my grandmother in every way. 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I cannot recollect all the small episodes and incidents in my life where I connect with her. And she is the one from where I've inherited all those qualities of generosity, caring, not going for tit for tat, being patient. And her logic or her mantra was Tri Dukh Sahanam. That is all kinds of pain. Just bear it, be with the flow, and everything is going to be fine. So it's my privilege that on my birthday, I am cherishing these moments with you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kavita. There's something very special about ba or a grandma, or I think any older figure, not your generation, not the immediate generation, but the generation next. You know, when you skip one generation, and the connection that we have with them is very, very special, very, very different. I'm so happy that you could share your bar story today on your birthday. Wishing you very, very happy birthday, Kavita. I think all of us have gone down memory lane. All of us have, it has reignited our memories with our special adult. Really, thank you so much for that. Thank you. Such a beautiful story. And I'm sure Ba lives on in your thoughts, in your ways that you do things, and in you in a lot of ways.
I'm wearing her beautiful color.
I could see that. When you said yellow sari, I could see, oh yes, the yellow sari and the red bindi. We could all visualize Ba there with you. And yes, your sari added on to our visual. Thank you so much, Kavita. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We need to move on to our next teller for the day. We have Shreya Biswas. Shreya is from Kolkatta. Shreya, let me just spotlight you. Please unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and share a story with us.
Hello, I'm Shreya Biswas and I am a storyteller from Kolkata. And I am from Bengal and I used to live in Bangalore for a long time, and now, time being, I'm shifted to Kolkata. And it's just a privilege to be participating once again in the Chennai Storytelling Festival. And I remember the first year and then onwards. And it is such a fantastic feeling to come back again and again and be at the festival. So thank you, Eric, and thank you all other storytellers who have participated and made this such a wonderful occasion to be in. And the story that I am going to share with you today, it's a short story. You tell me whether it is a story meant for children or adults. Okay. The story is written, or it was written in first person. So I will share the story in first person, and there will be a smattering of Hindi at times and Hindi and English. I hope that doesn't matter. It goes with the character and the flow of the story. So my story is called The Lights Changed. Every morning, I used to cycle to school. And as I came towards the Janpat crossing, I would see a young boy selling newspapers, Hindi and English. So he would scream at the top of his voice, "Aaj ki taza khabar, aaj ki taza khabar," and he would read out or he would scream out the headlines in his own way. प्रधानमंत्री जी बताया, क्या बताया, पढ़ लीजिए न्यूज़पेपर में, अरे दिल्ली में बारिश, दिल्ली में बारिश, और जानना है ना अखबार, कश्मीर में धमाका, अरे आइए 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 देखिए वो हमारे अखबार क्या बोलते हैं. He was very enthusiastic and a dramabaz, and he was to, the moment he saw me, and he would actually run after all these cars and the customers, and the moment the car stopped at the signal, he would be at each car door trying to sell his newspapers. And as I cycled along, he would come running after me, after my cycle, and he would wave the English newspaper at me to take the English paper. So that day, as the lights changed and it was red light, I just paused and I kept my foot on the pavement and balanced myself, looked at him and asked for a Hindi newspaper. Actually, I had meant it as a joke. But his mouth just fell open in astonishment and he said, "आप हिंदी जानते हैं? You know Hindi?" So I said, "Of course. Why? What do you think? तुम्हें क्या लगता है?" He was still amazed and he said, "नहीं, but आप इतना अंग्रेज जो लगते हो. You look so English. आप हिंदी पढ़ भी सकते हो? You can read Hindi." So I said, "Of course I can." And I was a little impatient. I said, "I can speak, read, and write Hindi. अरे हिंदी तो मेरे स्कूल में एक सब्जेक्ट है. Hindi is a subject in my school." He handed me the Hindi newspaper and said, "Subject?" Well, and before I could really explain what subject was to this young boy, the lights changed and the honking and the sound became hundredfold behind me, and I had to let myself be pushed along, and I moved along with the traffic. The next day, he was there again with a big smile on his face, holding a newspaper, and this was not English, it was a Hindi newspaper. And he told me, and he said, "Bhaiya, aapka akhbar, it's your newspaper here. भैया आप तो बताइए ये सब्जेक्ट क्या चीज होता है? Tell me what subject is." So at the word subject, that English word sounded so strange and foreign on his tongue. And I said, "It's something that, you study. These are ये जो स्कूल में जो पढ़ाते हैं ना जो विषय उसे सब्जेक्ट बोलते हैं." And I looked at the traffic light. It was still red. And I asked him, "तुम कभी स्कूल गए हो? जाते हो स्कूल? You have been to school?" And he nodded his head and said, "No, never." मैं तो, he was very enthusiastic and he said, "See, मैं तो जब इतना सा था ना तब से काम कर रहा हूँ. I have started working when I was just that much." So he measured himself against my cycle seat. And then he said, "पहले तो माँ आती थी मेरे साथ. अब तो मैं अकेला ही करता हूँ." So first my mother, initially she used to come with me, but now I work on my own. "Where does your mother stay now? Where is your mother now? तुम्हारी माँ कहाँ है अभी?" I asked. But by then, the lights had changed and I had to be off. And I could hear him yell through the cacophony of the traffic. मेरी माँ मीरठ में है और भी my mother is in Meerut. And the rest of what he said just died with the sound of the traffic. I couldn't hear anymore. Next morning, as I paused in the traffic, he came up and said, मेरा नाम समीर है. And then very shyly he added, आपका नाम क्या है? My name is Sameer. What's your name? And it was, believe me, it was incredible. I laughed so much that my cycle wobbled. And I said, अरे मैं भी समीर हूँ, मेरा नाम भी समीर है. I am Sameer too. My name is Sameer. And he too laughed and his eyes lit up. Huh? Aisa, is it? Yes, I said. Do you know what Sameer means? It means wind, hawa. He was so happy, ecstatic. And then he said, अच्छा अच्छा भैया, तब तो आज से आप समीर एक हो और मैं समीर दो. Means from today then you are Sameer 1 and I am Sameer 2. I just had to laugh out at him. And then I said, sure, that's right. Well, इसी बात पे चलो हाथ मिलाए. And I extended my hand to him. Shall we shake hands on this? And I extended my hand. His hand nestled like a little bird in mine. And I could still feel its warmth and the softness of his hand as I cycled away when the lights changed. Next day, Sameer was there with his bunch of newspapers, but he missed his usual smile. मीरठ में बहुत प्रॉब्लम है, बहुत दंगा हो रहा है, he said. There is trouble in Meerut. Riots, he said. And before I could understand anything, he pushed the Hindi newspaper in my hand. Right on the front page, there was a picture. Houses ablaze, people lying on the streets. And in big, bold letters, it said, communal riots, Meerut ablaze. I was shocked. I looked at Sameer and said, Sameer, I just began. And he said, मैं मुसलमान हूँ. I am a Muslim. मेरे सारे घर वाले, मेरी माँ मीरठ में है. My mother and my family members are in Meerut. His eyes were brimming with tears, and as I put my hand on his shoulders, he would not even look up. Then the lights changed. He was not at the crossing the following day, not the day after that, or ever again. And no newspapers in English or Hindi could ever tell me where my Sameer Do had gone. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. That was really deep really deep, thought-provoking story. I'm really at a loss of words to begin with, to be honest. Um, what drew you to this story?
Um, sorry, I think
We can hear you, Shreya. I think it's your video which is stuck. Oh, we've lost her. Okay, while we're waiting for Shreya to log back, I'm sure she's going to come back in a couple of seconds. Any thoughts? Anybody wants to share anything? How did the story reach out to you? Yes, Barry, please go ahead.
I'll jump in. And it's not a chance encounter with a child on the street, but I'm an educator, and I'm sure many of you are as well. And I know I have, many encounters with children that are fairly brief. And to remember that they have their stories, they have someone put in the chat the torments that children can deal with. They have full textured lives to remember and be aware of. And to make connections with each of them, like the narrator in the story.
Yeah. Shreya, we were just going ahead with the discussions on what the audience was thinking about the story and what resonated with them.
yes.
So yeah,
yes.
that's what Barry was telling.
I'm sorry, I missed what Barry was telling. I'm so sorry. There was some disruption over here. And actually, I came across the story, which in our children's book, it was a bunch of stories, and I found it as a children's book. But because as storytellers, we have to read books. And since I work a lot with children, but then as I read this story, whether it is meant for children or young adults, it was meant for actually children, 12-year-olds. Now, I felt that, is the story only meant for children? And I felt like sharing the story with adults to know what you adults think and feel about that story. It was from that thought that I shared that story.
I think
what do you people feel? There are so many adults sitting here, and as a storytellers and other storytellers here, so it's very important for me for that feedback.
Shreya, I think I'll go ahead while we are still waiting for the audience to ponder over that question. For me, for whatever reasons, it doesn't come across as a children's story at all. I really doubt I would share this with kids unless I know the kids well, in the sense I'm meeting them more often, and I find a ripe opportunity to share something a little more deep with them, right? So unless I am at that comfort level with the kids that I know who I've been meeting regularly, as I said, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable sharing that with kids. And of course, we can tweak the story, change the story, make it child friendly in that sense. But I feel it'll be doing injustice to the story itself. So for me personally, it's definitely a story for adults. Yeah, that's how I look at it personally. Yes, but opening it out to the audience.
Or maybe it could be a story for young adults, children. You want to start a discussion on a topic like this.
Yes, I would definitely say that. But again, only if I have the confidence that I've met the kids a couple of times and I know them well. Once we create that connect, yes, I would. I
yes,
agree.
we can. But otherwise, I could not classify it as a particular children's story because it came across to me in a children's book. So since I could not make the connection, that is why I felt, let me share it in an adult platform and see what other people think or say. Thank you for your comment, and that's really, really helpful.
Fair enough. Yes, Neena, go ahead, please.
Yeah, as far as me, after my long 16 years stay in Delhi, you connected me with the traffic lights, these kids, because I have come across them selling roses, selling books, and asking, khana nahi chahiye hame, school jana hai. Can you give us a book?
This is it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. There were
Okay.
some, and at one point I felt, the mother in us always is there. And one point you feel like taking them care of, but you don't know, you never know that, early morning there is a lorry coming in where they are, literally putting these kids in traffic lights, which we have seen. There are many things. Proper system is involved in all these things. And sometimes I feel like the face looks so cute, and if they are kept so neat and clean, they are somewhere it ponders that they are those missing kids. Maybe the missing kids, they should be traced and given back. So this is, you just connected with that thought, and thank you so much, because it's definitely a share for adults, because we always ignore when we hear a news that a child is missing. Then what happens? Whether the child is found out, or what is the fate of the child? Maybe the child also doesn't know that he's been taken from some place. So thank you for connecting.
This is another aspect that you just brought up. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else?
Hmm.
I think as Shreya had put it across, does it come across to you as a kid story or as an adult story? Yes, Kavita, please go ahead.
So once in Ahmedabad, year before 1 year, I had one small boy, selling some small fans, and I was sitting in the rickshaw and I told, come here and please buy, please buy. I'll give you at a very minimal rate. And, the stories which go around the system that, these people are made to do such things. So I was afraid that if I buy it, maybe this money will not go to him and it will go to go to some inappropriate place, or is this boy being exploited? What is actually? So sometimes some situations are such that if we would like to help them, it is very important, we start becoming judgmental, like what should we do? Is it right? Is it wrong? Should I help or not? So he was selling fans, and he just told me that if you will purchase this and if my target is achieved, I'll get some good money. And there I was shocked that I felt that whatever I was thinking in my mind, there is some system like that. So I did not purchase because I was not sure. I don't know if I was wrong or right, but I could not purchase that fan, thinking that he will be more exploited, or so I couldn't take a decision. So yes, Shreya ji, your story made me think about that incident and reflect. I started reflecting what I did was right or wrong. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think in a way, that is what stories compel us to do, right? To
Yes. Yes.
sometimes judge ourselves as well. Are we doing things right? Are we thinking right? Are we looking at it in the right perspective? Should we be exploring the other perspective as well? Can we at least try? It really gets us thinking, questioning what we are and how we should be, or what is right, what is wrong. And I think that's the beauty of stories and storytelling and storytellers as well. Yeah. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Shreya. So just wanted to let you know that I loved the story. It was just way too heart touching. Just loved it. So yeah, thank you for it. It was really, really good.
Thank you
Yes,
so
Nancy.
much.
Looks like you
I
just had
really
an
loved it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. The thing is, now I haven't shared it so far. It is written also by a children's author called Poili Gupta. So that's where somewhere I think, it's always a writer writes it in their own perspective, their
Mhm,
way.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
when we tell that story, we do not actually read it out from there. No, we tell it with so stories change and stories tweak. So it cannot be exactly the written words of, but the content, the heart of the story remains the same. So somewhere, since I felt that how does this story go into children's anthology? So, and I think everyone, yes, it's a beautiful story, no doubt about that. But yeah, so thank you. Thank you for sharing all your whatever you felt and what you thought. And it really makes a big difference to that I will be telling, or I will choose the audience for that story. Thanks.
Yes, Nancy, you want to go ahead?
Oh, yes, I just was just going back to your question, like I felt it wasn't really a children's story because the ending was pretty kind of sad. Just like there was like no real resolution and you don't really know what happened to the boy. So I think from that aspect, it just felt like yeah, it was a little bit too sad. But yeah, thank you for
Yes.
sharing the story. It's just I really like the aspect how, you know, they were just strangers at the beginning and they just met
They
on this
became
chance
friends.
encounter.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then they just because of this the location, geography, they actually built up this relationship and she really started to care for the boy. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yes, Tanya, have you put your hand up? I can't see you again. Tanya, are you there? Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello. No, it happened just by chance, but I really love the story. I imagine I'm there and I really meet the child together with her. So thank you. It was really a good story to think about.
Thank you for connecting. I think that's what stories do, right? It makes you feel like doing, something for the child, the character that you feel for. It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya, once again. I'm sure every time each one of us are at the traffic lights, especially in India, where it's very common to find, people selling wares to you, especially kids. This story is going to be in our mind every single time we are at the traffic lights. And it's such a beautiful story, very beautifully shared as well. Thank you, Shreya. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Our next storyteller for the day is Lavanya Prasad from Bengaluru. Lavanya, please introduce yourself and share a story with us.
Thank you, Pratigya. Thank you to all the beautiful tellers for sharing their story. I connect from Bengaluru, India. Namaste, everyone. Today, I want to tell a story that has resonated very deeply with me. I'll tell you the author or the source of the story after I finish the telling. I'm just diving right away into the story. Agniye Swaha. I woke up as I listened to the chanting of the priest. And from my bedroom, I could see that the priest was pouring ghee into the sacrificial fire, and the fire rose up. Tatta dinka jono takata dinka jono tatta dinka jono krtakadam. Tatta dinka jono takata dinka jono tatta dinka jono krtakadam. Lighting up Amma's face. I saw my mother there, clad in her madisar or 9 yards, and with that big red kumkum bindi on her face. She looked like the daughter of Agni, fire god. Was it her red lips or that charismatic kumkum bindi? I don't know. I always thought she was the daughter of the fire god. Amma. You know, every time I think about Amma, sa ni da ni ma da ga ma sa da ma da ni sa. It's like the gentle breeze caressing me. I have so many memories with her. I think when I was about 4 or 5 years of age, that was the first time I saw my mother cry. Something was happening in my house. My sister, elder sister Kalyani, Something had happened to her. I don't know what. She was made to sit in an elevated wooden platform, and there was a boy holding a bunch of mango leaves in his hands, and somebody was calling out to Amma, Neerajakshi, poi eduthin Amma, go get it. And my mother came running into the room that I was sitting. She opened the bureau and she took a sari for Akka. And that was the time I saw her beautiful eyes well up in tears. Innachuma? I went and I asked her. She sat down, wiped the tears from her eyes, looked into mine and said, Onnu illada kanna, nothing, don't worry. My amma, no? She's so sweet. She has this habit of getting up very early in the morning, even before anybody would get up. Even the days that I thought I woke up really early, she would be up. She would have finished bathing and neatly dressed. But one day, I woke up really early in that wee hour because I heard some noise coming from the backyard. And when I peeped to see, Amma was sitting there with her feet flat on the floor, stacking firewood to boil up water. And she was having this long metal pipe and was blowing into the wood, lighting up the fire. And when the fire lit up, Amma stood. Her long tresses just fell down to her knees, and the fire lit her face up. Kali Kali Mahakali Bhadrakali Namostute. The shloka slipped out of my mouth just like that. The shloka that Amma only had taught me, and my palms just joined involuntarily. Amma turned back with a jerk and said, Ashide, what are you doing here at this time of the day? You just scared me, I say. But I saw Amma. She was there with her inskirt tied above her chest. She was getting ready for a bath, but my eyes, it just fell on that fair legs of Amma, which had this green veins going over it. I looked at Amma and asked, Amma, how come you are so fair but I'm so dark? You know what my mummy said? She sat down and she sang. Chinnanjiru kiliye kannamma selva kalanjiyame. Yo. So what if I'm fair? Will anybody match my daughter's beauty? And my heart smiled. Just like this. Every time. I had so many experiences. You know, I love lying in my Amma's lap. Her hand would just go caressing my hair. And Amma would look into me and she would say, I'll definitely make you a dancer. You have a perfect body for dancer, Kannamma. Look at your eyes. Mean, weary, just like the fish. I know it will sound silly to you all. But every time Amma does that, my hands, it just dances in joy. Tom, 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 apasani dapa masasa sama mama gaga gasa sama, and I would imagine myself to be a dancer. It was one such day when I was just lying in Amma's lap. I suddenly asked her a question. What is puberty, Amma? And Amma, who was singing, suddenly stopped and she stared into a distance. A few moments later, she just came back to senses and said, why do you have to worry about all that now, huh? You be like this, no? Little girl, roaming around, going around, playing cheerfully with your skirts on. Huh, Shreya? Just do that, okay? And I said, okay. Skirts. That reminds me that Deepavali, Amma was going to order me a new purple color pavadai. Pattu pavadai, silk lehenga. And I was so happy. This time she even took measurements. Every time it is only Kalyani's pavadai that comes to me. This time my own pavadai. And when she was taking measurements, you know what she said? "Ayyo, look how tall you have grown. 2 inches taller than last year. Ayyo." But there was one thing which was not keeping me happy. Amma will not be there with me for this Deepavali. You know why? Because my mother's sister's daughter, that is my cousin Radhu, no, a groom was coming to see her. And Amma had to go and help my aunt. But then I just took away all of that sadness away because I was focusing on the purple color pavadai that I was going to wear on Deepavali. So on the day of Deepavali, I woke up, had a nice oil bath, and I ran into the puja room where all the new dresses were stacked up, and I showed my hand. My appa, he gave me the purple color lehenga. And he said, Indadi Karuppi. Karuppi ame. Black, dark complexioned. That is what my dad called me. I took the pavadai, snatched it rather. I wore it and I stood in front of that long mirror that we had in our living room, turning this side and that side, looking at myself. Karuppi ame, dark complexion. But that is when I heard my mother's voice inside my head. Neelavanna kanna vada, nee oru muttam tada. She always told that I was her Krishna. Nothing else mattered. I quickly ran to the Shenbaga tree to pluck flowers for that day's puja. You know, in the neighborhood, we always had a competition who was going to burst the first firecracker. So I was climbing quickly up to the Shenbaga tree and was trying to reach that one flower which was so adamant to come, and pateer! The first cracker went somewhere and I lost my balance and tumbled down. Tarigida, 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 tarigida. Ayyo. Chha. No kamade. And that was when I noticed there was a stain. Maybe from the mud or maybe from the tree that I climbed. Yo, what do I do now? My new pavadai, my new purple color pavadai. I called to my sister, Kalus. Hey, Kalyani, come here 1 minute. And she came running. But the moment she looked at the stain in my skirt, she froze. And she went inside, calling to Appa. Appa! Come and see what has happened. What? I didn't do anything. If I slip by mistake, is it my fault? I don't know what is wrong with all these people. Dramatic, over dramatic, I say. And then Appa came running. He took a look at my skirt and he said, go call the neighboring party and come immediately. What was happening? They're calling the neighboring party for such a small thing? And what happened next? You won't believe. That party, no? She came, she took me and put me in one room, made me sit in one corner. By this time, I was feeling all wet and sticky and something was not okay. So disgusting it was. And the worst of all, Party and Kalus, they looked into my eyes and said, now go change this and change to a nice cotton dress. Huh? How long I was waiting to wear this purple color pavadai and they want me to change? No way. I'm not going to do this. My mother stitched it for me with so much love and affection. And when she is not here, all these people, what are they trying to do? Mate, Pudi. மீன் விழியாளே உன்ன காய்ந்த துடுக்கு விரலத்தனையும் இல்லையே இந்த மிடுக்கு நான் ஒரு தீதற்கெல்லாம் போடாவிட்டால் தடுக்கு நானும் ஒரு பெண் அல்ல நீ குளுக்கு வாயடக்கு எத்தனை சொன்னாலும். My sister Kalyani was very angry. Podi, listen to what I'm saying. She tried to raise her voice. But I said, Mate, I won't do it. Go. And in my head, I was making note of every single thing that she was telling. all that she was telling, all that my appa was telling, all that my party was telling. I was making a mental note of everything. Let Amma come. Let Amma come. Then you all see. My Amma did come after 4 days. And when I heard the car brake screech to a halt, ga kari kari sari ga ga pada da sari ga 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 da pagari ga ga sa da pagari, I just ran to just go and hold her tight. I was just waiting for her to tell me that, Kannamma, don't worry. This also is a beauty. But then she pushed me away. And she looked and asked, Mundri kotta, cash in it. What is the hurry now? Huh? Enadi avasram unakku? I stood there not understanding the strange behavior of Amma. She then looked at Appa and said, that groom, no? He rejected Radu because Radu is dark complexioned. And then she shot that glance towards me and said, Unikku avasram ippo? Mundri kotta, cashew nut? Let us not forget that we also have a black beauty burden in our house. And she walked inside. Kali, Kali, Mahakali, Bhadrakali, Namostute. My lips, it murmured the shloka. To me, my Amma was the one who burnt the impurities to ashes. But that day, I realized that fires can also burn beautiful flowers to ashes. Kali, Kali, Mahakali, Bhadrakali, Namostute. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavanya. That was really beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Whenever you tell a story, how can it not have dance and music and expressions and everything? And of course, I always love the choice of your stories as well. You did say you want to talk something about the story. So before I
Yes.
invite the audience, please tell me what you had to tell.
Right. So this story is an authored story. This was written in the 1960s by a very famous Tamil author. Her name is C.S. Lakshmi. She writes by the pen name Ambai, and this story is titled Amma Oru Kolai Seidal, loosely translated to A Murder by Amma. So it's a very powerful story. And why? Because in India, I don't know, I think you guys would have got it that the girl is experiencing her first period. So in India, menstruation is a taboo. So we are asked to sit separately. We are asked to, not come here. No, don't touch this, don't touch that. So a girl and also there is the societal pressure of, a dark complexioned girl not getting a groom, and how a child who was looked up as Krishna by the mother, the moment she gets her periods, the mother feels the burden and plates change. So it's a very beautiful story. It has got an English translation too. I would urge you all to go and read it. I mean, it's a long story. I tried to concise it to 10 minutes and try to bring the essence of what the author was trying to tell in the best way that I could. But I would like to know what memories or what thoughts did this story trigger in your head. It'll be lovely to understand what came across to your mind.
Sure. Kavita, you want to go ahead?
Yes, so Lavanya, I could resonate myself. The time I was born, my mother is very fair. My father has a very, very dark complexion, right? And my mother is really a very beautiful lady. fair. So when I was born, this is something which is narrated by my grandma to me, and even assured me. So when she took me in her hands, and she was like, "Oh, how will I get a room? I have just born, right?" So my grandmother told she is coming from the team of Srinathji, who is already a black. The deity is black in color. So she is from the team of Srinathji from Krishna. So don't worry, the groom will come in search, and it happened so, right? And I always wanted in that complexion that I want to marry a fair person only. Why are they telling me black? But it happened that I married a person who has a more dark complexion than me.
I know. Thank you for sharing, Kavita.
Yes,
Yeah,
and the
Lavanya.
menstruation problem you told, have this system inherited, and still it's on, that 3 days we are having that rest period. But thanks to my grandmother, she interpreted in such a beautiful way that all of my family still follows the custom, but in a very different level and understanding. So not as a taboo. Thank you, Lavanya.
Yeah,
Right.
for me,
Times have changed. Menstruation used to be a very, I mean, there are, like what Kavita said, there are places where it is still followed very rigorously. But I would definitely like to talk about my dad today. Today is his birthday. And he was somebody who, who came to my mom and said, no, just let my daughters free. Don't get them into this nonsense things. Let them be free. But of course, there are certain things which mummy does not allow, and it is not allowed. But we were always given the freedom to explore other things. Very true, Kavita. Thank you for the share. Yes, Neena.
yeah, Lavanya, that was a power-packed story, and love the way you bring in those dance, song, and all those things. Truly inspiring. And yes, as Barry said, amazing, the purple, the nail polish, and the dress matching along with. And yeah, puberty is something that we have gone through the taboo, in South, as we all are asked to keep aside, stay aside for these many days, and then somebody coming and pouring in water from the temple and then getting all those things. I think times have changed. Some places it is no more there, but still the taboo is there. And this is one thing that we need to understand, that the complexion, what we talk about, is also another thing that has to change. So thank you so much.
Yes, Shri, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, just a couple of minutes. Lavanya, I think you brought the story In the Moonlight of Stories, if I remember, and it's always heart-touching. In 1960s, the story is there, but it holds good today also. Even today, when the marriage matches are seen, they want a fair girl. Matrimony came into apps and websites and internet matrimony and all that. Still, a fair-looking girl is still date across India, be it north or south. I don't know why is that so. So this story really holds relevant today. And as young girls are eating junk food and attaining puberty at a faster age, the other day my little one, who is 12 and a half, came and said, "Mom, in my class, everybody got it. I did not get it. Is there something wrong with me?" You know how I mean, like it's like your mother and daughter in your story, and how my daughter is coming and asking me about why she didn't get it. It's like reflects of the society, and you know how times have changed. And very beautiful, wonderful story choice. Or your narration too, I'm a big fan of your narration. It's always impeccable, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri. Yes, Ambu.
Can I? Yeah. Okay. Every time I listen to you, okay, it takes me to another world. Like how Barry correctly mentioned, attention to details, everything purple around. So the scene was, I admire the meticulous effort that you put for each and every stories. And the visuals were so strong, because being a person who can relate to the agni and the fire and the water boiling and everything, so I could relive all those memories that happened. It is so nice to relate, and the choice of the songs and the tunes, right choices at the right places. And I love that that little girls, how happy she is, how innocent she is, and how she gets disappointed when she's expecting that kind of an attention, comfort from her mother. You brought it out so beautifully. Thanks so much, Lavanya.
Oh, thank you. So, in fact, after reading this story for the first time, I was very worried. I went to my daughters and asked, "Did I hurt you any time? Has Amma told you anything that has hurt you so deeply?" Because it sat very it sits with you for so long. And the momentary things that we tell our children, sometimes it just goes and sits in their hearts forever. So then it was actually helping me also understand what I was talking to my children. Of course, there are a lot of things I say even now. I'm not a perfect mother, but every time I get back to this story, it's a warning also to me to watch your words. You'll never know what it does to a child. So yes, thank you, Ambu. Thank you for that.
Yes, great choice of story, Lavanya. And this is one topic, especially as women, I think we'll have loads and loads and loads to talk about, both about the complexion and the puberty. And I'm itching to tell you a lot, but we are pressed for time. So I will have to move on to our last teller for the day. I'm just spotlighting you, Jenis. Jenis Lunkad is from Raipur. Jenis, please introduce yourself and share a story with us.
Sure, thanks, Pratigya. It was a wonderful, wonderful story, Lavanya. I'm still, in the zone and in the music and everything, the elements you brought into the story. I'm still mesmerized. Beautiful, so much to learn from you. Thank you for that performance. Hello, everyone. I am Jenis. I am from Raipur. It's my first time performing a story, so I'm very excited to be here and also very grateful to CSF for allowing a platform for storytellers of all kinds to come and share their stories. So since you're already on right on time, so I'll begin. This one is for all the people who think that they could not live a life that they have wanted to, or have regrets with their what ifs. And if you resonate, then this one is for you. The story is titled The Halls of Amenti. The story of the ever elusive halls of Amenti have been known for time untold. Many people have tried finding these emerald halls, but to no use. Our story today begins with Ali and his quest for these halls of Amenti, which are said to be made of precious, precious emeralds. Ali stood at a sand dune, gazing intently ahead to look for what looked like an entrance to a cave. He was in Cairo. "Is this it, Kabir? Are we finally here?" he said. "Yes, Ali, this is it," Kabir said, holding a map that they finally managed to track down from Cairo's most secretive Chor Bazaar of artifacts, the thief market. 7 years, Ali. It's been 7 years. "I hope this one is real," said Kabir. Kabir was Ali's colleague turned family, closest to kin that Ali has ever known for the longest time. 7 years, you say, Kabir? But for me, Ali said, the halls of Amenti are all that I've been hearing from Papa. Growing up, I've been thinking to find it because my dad, my Papa would always talk about it. I've been thinking about these halls ever since my College of Archaeology. You know, Papa spent his entire life finding these halls, Kabir. As these words escaped Ali's mouth, his mind flew to a reverie of memories of the times his papa was not there for Diwali, or when he performed his first play of The Lion's King in grade 7 but was all alone. My papa spent his entire life trying to unearth these emerald halls of Amenti. He never could find it, but he did lose a lot because of it, Ali said. I understand, Ali. It must be hard for an archaeologist like him to be bedridden now to his room back at home, Kabir said. I believe so, Ali said, thinking how he's unsure how his own father is doing right now. He hasn't spoken to him in about 3 months. Would he be happy knowing I finally found these halls? He wondered. As they continued their hike towards the cave, his train of thoughts were again interrupted by Kabir. Ali, now that we are here, do you think these halls are really made of emeralds? Is it why they're so precious and sought after? I mean, we could be finding another Sphinx for all that matters, but here we are, almost a decade, trying to find these legendary places called halls of Amenti that the archaeology world is not even sure of if it exists. Well, I hope they do. That would explain my father's obsession with the halls. And by the way, if we talk about legends, did you know that they say the emerald halls of Amenti were created by the god themselves, the Egyptian gods? The emeralds were shrined and put in there to help humans live a fulfilled life. Egyptians would go there often for guidance because they say within the emeralds, the gods stored every soul's journey across every time and space. You know what that means? Egyptians believed that everything, that every soul, you, me, anyone on this planet, on this earth, whatever any soul on earth has done, is doing, or could do across all of their time on earth, it is all stored there. The emeralds know it all, they record it all, they see it all. Oh, Ali, that's deep. But well, now that we are here, I hope at least we get our emeralds. They both share a laugh. Now, as they entered and ventured into the cave, Ali's excitement fills the entire desert. Kabir, do you see it? Do you see it? We are here, he said, his hand already starting to dust away centuries of sand from the inscription at the entrance, revealing a hieroglyph. Ali began deciphering the cryptic message engraved on the cave's entrance. If you look long enough, the halls look back at you. And if the gaze looks at you, you must look back too. Whoever enters must choose to return the same or return anew. I wonder what that is. Never mind, let's see what's inside, Kabir said. Their exploration led them deeper into the cave. They marveled at the tiny emeralds adorning the walls of the caves. I should start collecting some samples for carbon dating these emeralds. They look precious, Kabir said, gleaming with joy. He finally could have these emeralds. But Ali's exploration went deeper. He continued walking, but as the passage seemed to unfold itself, he met with what looked like a huge wall in front of him. A wave of disappointment flooded his entire body. A wall? That's it? Where are the halls of Amenti? This can't be real, Ali exclaimed, frustration held in his clenched fist. There must be a decoy, a secret passage covered. I must find it. He gasped for his breath in disbelief, his hands all over the wall like a frazzled six-legged spider. In the midst of anxiety, disappointment, and desperation, Ali could not believe that the wall was there, right in front of him, and the caves went no further ahead. As he was looking around, his attention suddenly was drawn to the intricate carvings on the wall. revealing some sort of sacred geometry. He put on his torch, a set of mandalas of concentric circles holding ancient symbols within them. What is this? He said, studying each of the concentric circle and the symbols in them. The more he focused on it, the more his vision started to blur. He started losing his attention, almost as if he was entering a state of trance. His body started to not move to his command. His body refused to move. He was dizzy, as if high on drugs, but he could not avert his gaze. His body betrayed him. The longer he stared at them, the more the mandala like formations on the wall appeared to come alive. He tried to move, but it was as if he was transfixed by some force unknown. He had no choice but to stare. A soft emerald glow emerged from the mandala, and it started moving like gears on a clock. Kabir, Kabir, he crippled cries, and the cries echo on the cave around him as the cave starts spinning, and his body fell onto the Cairo ground. Everything painted itself black as the last of his consciousness withdrew from his body. It took a minute, and colors started painting themselves after what seemed like a minute. As Ali's eyes orient themselves, he looked frantically at his own skin, which was now naked and bare. His body feels lighter, perhaps because he shed the layers of his clothes now. His neck turns to the right and turns to the left, looking for answers. He could not make sense of where he is. He was lying on what seemed like a gigantic rock, double the size of a football ground, amidst a night sky that he had never seen before, a starless night sky. Big emeralds, much bigger than the ones he looked in the caves earlier, were all around him. These emeralds were nothing like he's ever seen before, shaped like flowers growing on the ground, wild flowers all around him, glowing softly in a rhythm like a firefly dance. He was flustered, confused. Ali mustered the strength to wake his knees and push himself to stand to understand where he is, because right now he was in the cave and the next moment he's in a place that he does not know of or could make sense of. As he stood, all he could see were emeralds and emeralds on this giant island amidst nothing. Ali inched towards the edge of the rock to try to understand what's beneath him, but his body quickly recoiled, seeing that the giant rock wasn't stationed on the ground. It was floating in the depth of darkness and nothingness. His feet started retracting, taking steps back, almost as if they had a mind of their own. The survival instincts must have kicked in. In these haphazard steps, he fell off balance. He placed a hand on one of the emeralds to catch himself. And as his touch met the surface of the emerald, it started glowing in a dazzling green. Words, sounds, and picture started popping in his head now. Age 10, a younger Ali, looking around at every parent who's come to pick their child after their first performance of The Lion King, hopelessly looking for his own father. No one came to take his picture or take him back home that day. Age 18, Ali, at the precipice of his teenage years, in his deck, packing the manuscript of his book in a cardboard box. It was the day he decided to stop writing the book in pursuit of archaeology. Flashes of hundreds of nights of the 4 years of his college flooded his mind's eye, sleeping with passing out from the numbness of substances, crying till he slept. What is happening? Ali screamed, but the flashes, they did not stop, mind you. Age 21, Ali hiding in the crowd of his college party with a black hooded sweater, his eyes dry, skin of the face hanging. The constant battle of who you want to be versus who you think you need to be started dimming the light of your soul. A voice started speaking to him amidst the imagery. The imagery shifted again. Age 24, Ali is sending a breakup text to the love of his life, Eleanor. The voice took over the imagery again and said, "You felt she was too good to be true, and you were too afraid to love. So you left her before she could leave you, all to avoid the pain you know all too well from all the years from your childhood." "Stop!" Ali cried, his hands caving into his face. A mixture of regret, shame, and deep pain started to flush his entire body. What's happening? Where am I? He wondered. He thought he's losing his mind. "You are here, my child, the place you were looking for. Welcome to the halls of Amenti." The voice, now gentler, spoke again. The sound did not come from any place in particular, for Ali looked everywhere that he could. It popped in his own head like a telepathic radio transmission. "Who are you? Why am I hearing these voices in my head? Am I dead?" "Far from being dead, no, very much alive, Ali. I am the voice of the Emerald Halls of Amenti. You wanted to be here. In fact, you spent years to meet me. So here you are." "Halls of Amenti? I, I don't get it. I was in the cave with Kabir, the halls, and then there was a wall." "Yes, you were, and yes, you were not. I, I do not understand." "The halls are a sacred place, Ali. The halls of Amenti are not in the physical realm. Yes, the halls need to be in the physical realm, but merely to act as a gate to the actual halls of Amenti, which is here. The mandala or the sacred geometry you were looking at is in fact the gate. Remember, if you look long enough, the halls look back. And if the gaze looks at you, you must look back too." The message at, at the entrance? Yes, Ali. Welcome to the halls of Amenti. It has been decades since any human could come in. Most of the humans hunt this place for the precious emeralds. So they can never even find the entrance of the cave, for the enchantment there can see right through your heart. Something tells me you are here for more. You are worthy. Hence you were let in by the halls. Worthy? Me? I think you're mistaken. I don't think I'm worthy. Didn't you just a minute ago show me visions and sounds and memories telling me about how miserable my life has been, how miserable I am, and all the mistakes I've made in my life, my regrets? Mistakes? No, Ali. The things you are calling mistakes are the precise, exact choices that got you here. If you had chosen differently, my friend, you might not have been here in the first place. I understand your confusion. Let me show you something. Colors started painting in Ali's minds again, taken over by the imagery projected by the halls of Menti. An image started emerging of Ali walking in a crowded bookstore in a tailored, fit to body suit, beaming with a smile. Everybody turns around to look at him as he walks in, not to sit in the audience, but he moves and makes his steps to the center stage. The room is filled with thunders of clapping. It is his third book launch gathering. What? What is this? Was that me? Ali said in confusion, not knowing what this image meant because that was not a memory he remembered from his life. Yes, Ali. What I just showed you in your mind's eye is an alternative timeline. Another life of yours where you did not give up on your manuscript for a career in archaeology. You went to a college of literature instead, my friend. You actually end up being a successful writer in this lifetime, at least. You followed your dreams and not your father's. A pang of regret clutches Ali's stomach like a lion hunting its prey. Why did you stop writing, Ali? Ah, I don't know. I thought I was young and on fire, and I thought I could change the world with my writing, but I didn't know if that's what my father had dreamt for me. Ali's hand rushed to his mouth. He could not believe what he was saying. Truth, the voice replied. Of course, it could hear Ali's inner thoughts as well. You're speaking your truth, Ali. Halls are a place of honest truth. It is not in the nature of a soul to lie. It is time, Ali, that you look back at the halls as the halls are now looking at you. Ali could not believe what was happening. You do not have to believe. Just go on. The halls spoke, reading his mind again. Why did you choose archaeology, Ali? This time, he knew he could not lie. He knew he does not have to think. His heart started speaking on his own. My papa, I always wanted to find these emerald balls of humanity. So much so that it was never there for me. It was almost as if this was more important to him than his own family. Can you imagine? His own 9 years old son. It was always his work, not us. So I thought if I could find these halls, maybe for once he will have the time for me. Maybe he will love me, that I'll be good enough for his attention over these stupid halls. I could never see myself being good enough for him writing a 400 pages of my manuscript anyway. Alex said, with all honesty in his heart. But it seemed like you really liked writing, Ali. Yes, writing made me feel happy. It moved me. It was as if life would flow through me only when I was writing. It made me feel alive. But to Papa, writing was merely a hobby. You think if I stuck with writing, I would have been happier? Life feels so empty. I don't feel alive anymore. I haven't for a while. I feel I'm just chasing a goal, not sure of the why. Let me show you something else then. Colors started painting in Ali's mind again, taken over by the imagery projected by the halls. An image surfaced, forming. An image started surfacing. Ali walking out of an accounts firm in a dull plaid shirt and trousers. His face decked up in thick glasses, his skin looks apparently more wrinkled, his hairline receding much farther than he remembers from his own life. He's walking out to a car where someone was already there on the driver's seat. Eleanor? Yes, Eleanor was waiting. Eleanor, the one that got away. He enters the car and kisses her. How was work, honey? She asks. Same as usual, he grunts. But thanks for picking me up, honey. What would I do without you? Eleanor smiles and says, "Love you, Ali." They drive down the street as Ali's vision orients back to the halls of Amendi. "Eleanor," Ali says in a bittersweet voice. "Yes, Eleanor," the halls repeat. "This isn't a memory either. Is this me in another life of me again, where I'd chosen differently, an alternate timeline?" "Yes. Had you chosen to not break up with her, you two actually would have ended up together. But your fears and insecurities got the better of you in this lifetime." Yes, it was so good. I was so afraid. I thought, along with the heavy pressures of my archaeology college and my mental health suffering because of being suffocated in archaeology, it made me think that Eleanor and I were not practical anymore. I had no time for her, for us. It was just practical, I guess, to break up with my dear, dear Eleanor. I started crying. Fear can sometimes disguise itself as practicality. I know that much about humans, Ali. Ali, you were running away from all parts of you, writing, Eleanor, because you were so busy chasing something else. You stopped living for yourself. You started living for something else, your father's love and approval. But it is time, Ali, that you reconcile. What is that you truly want from your life? We all have only one of it, at least in the place you live. Perhaps your father wasn't there for you, absent for most of your life. So part of you felt you need to find these halls of amenity. And only when you do will you be loved by him. Only when that love was given to you can you give yourself the permission to love your own self. You couldn't love yourself, so you did not let Eleanor love you too. You acted out of fear and let go of the things that mattered the most to you. You gave up writing for you fear writing may not bring you here. You broke up with her because this quest of yours took too much out of you. Ali could not stop sobbing. His entire life felt like a big project, a big play, a big trick, and it had its own price. He never chose what made him truly happy. All his choices lay naked and bare in front of him, like the bare skin that he was standing in. I wish I had spoken to my papa about this. I wish I'd chosen the things that brought me joy. I wish I knew to love myself by being myself. I wish I'd not given up writing or broken up with Eleanor, the one person who loved me for who I am. I would have been so happy, like in these alternate lives of mine, would have been so, so happy. The horse smile. I understand your regrets, dear Ali. Do not beat yourself for the past, for it is now done. It is pointless for you or all those who enter the halls today through you to worry about what if things were different or what if I chose differently. Each rejection, each disappointment are exactly the things that have led you to the point to the halls of amenity. In none of your other lives do you come here. In each of your life, life is working for you. And coming here is life's way of showing that it is still working for you. But if you're stuck in the past or your regrets, you work against the natural flow of life, of trust. And you give away the most precious, powerful power that a human possesses, given by the gods themselves. God's power, most precious power. Choice, Ali. Choice. Your past does not define you. It informs you of your journey. The real wisdom lies in your power to choose in this moment and the moments to come. Look at your past now, all of it, and then choose. Ali stood there, surrounded by the ethereal glow of the emeralds, his entire life unfolding before him like chapters of a book. Each moment, now that he sees, is a choice that led him exactly to this present. The halls then projected the different futures that he can create now in this lifetime through the choices of the present, the choices he now can make for his future. With each vision of his future, Ali felt a shift within him, release of old wounds, breaking free of chains of fear, and an embrace of the possibilities that lay ahead. A stillness washed over Ali. Your past does not define you. It merely informs you of your journey. The real wisdom lies in your power to choose in the moment and the moments to come. Ali repeated as his vision started to become a blur and his body started disorienting itself. Choose, Ali. Your story is still being written. The sounds of the horn started to fade out. Ali, are you okay? Kabir was exhaling frantically as Ali's senses were accommodating back. He found himself back in the caves. Kabir, I am back? Yes, I am okay. He managed to speak. Let's take you out and back to Cairo. Let's take you to the hospital immediately. Sure, but could you give me my phone, please? I have to make a call right now. Call? Right now? Yeah, need to call my father. Is everything okay? Yes, Kabir. Everything is okay. More than okay. I just have to rewrite the story. And so the story of Ali continued. Ali did make it up to his father and was by his side on his deathbed. He got in touch with Eleanor again. And it took him 2 years, but he did write his first book. Every decision and the outcomes of our decision become a part of our story, friends. Luckily, in God's big picture, we get to write that story every single day through our choices. For our story is still being written. Friends, we all may have regrets and pain like Ali, but if you look long enough, the halls look back at you. And if the gaze looks at you, you must look back too. Whoever enters must choose to return the same or return anew. With Ali's stories, we all have looked long enough at the halls too. We all have entered the halls of humanity today. So, what are your regrets? What are you going to choose now if you knew that your choice is the ultimate decider of where your story goes from here on? Thank you.
Thank you, Jenis. Oh, what a deep choice of story. Did you say you're performing for the first time today?
Yes.
Oh, you have a very, very, very excellent future, I must say. Loved your choice definitely for day one. And we could all see those concentric circles and we all fell into the abyss along with you. Very visual, very metaphorical, very deep story. Loved it, completely loved it. Thank you so much, Janice. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pratigya. Means a lot. I actually, in fact, wrote the story myself.
Ah, okay, all right. I should have asked that question. Excellent, beautiful. So you have a strong future in writing and telling. Hopefully, I will borrow your stories and start selling them.
Wow, that is goals. That's goals for me.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, Janice. I think we are way out of time. Unfortunately, we'll have to wrap up the session now. But for me, the biggest theme today has definitely been color. There was green and there was purple. And there were the traffic lights, which is 3 colors, and now the green of the emerald again. And there was yellow, of course, of the sari. Lots of colors. And on that colorful note, I think we will wrap up today's story session. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, everybody who joined in today. Thank you so much to all the tellers. The comments, the discussions, the reflections really made our day. Thank you once again, and it's over to you, Eric. Eric, you're on mute.
Yes, thank you very much. You did a wonderful job hosting, and I'll say another word about that in a second. But Tej, did you want to say a word?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I just wanted to appreciate the story of Jenis. I found it very moving and very inspiring altogether. So I just wanted to appreciate the same. So yeah, that was too good, Jenis. Kudos to you.
Thanks, Tej, means a lot.
Great. Well, yeah, so Pratigya, I just want to thank you so much for hosting these sessions together with Sheetal. 12 sessions like today. It really made it possible for me that I did not have to host these sessions. It made the whole process so much easier for me. So I want to thank you very much, and you're really an excellent host. You're a good conversationalist, and you really brought out a lot from people. Okay, now we'll stop recording.